Welcome to the exclusive realm of Sheikh Hamdan's devoted fanbase. This is your premier destination for the latest scoops, updates, and insights into the fascinating world of Sheikh Hamdan and the royal family. Get ready to be enchanted. Sheikh Hamdan recently shared a deeply personal and romantic poem on his Instagram, offering a rare glimpse into his love story with Sheikha Binti. Join us as we delve into the magic of their love and the captivating dynamics of the royal family. Stay tuned for a journey filled with joy, romance, and inspiration. I found myself entangled in a web of obligation, suffocating under the weight of expectation. My family's unwavering stance on marriage left me feeling cornered, with no clear escape. The roots of this dilemma date back to the moment I met her. The spark of adoration in her eyes was undeniable, yet I couldn't shake off the feeling of being unready. As my parents continued to exert their influence, citing tradition and family honor, I felt the noose of duty tightening around my neck. With each passing day, the pressure to conform intensified, and my autonomy began to slip away. It dawned on me that I was losing grasp of my own destiny, and the realization was both daunting and suffocating. The prospect of entering a loveless marriage was nothing short of devastating. Torn between my own desires and the weight of familial expectations, I felt trapped in a vortex of conflicting emotions. The anguish of disappointing my family wrestled with the dread of sacrificing my own happiness. Deep down, I knew that forcing love would only lead to a toxic cycle of resentment and unhappiness for both of us. As I grappled with the gravity of this decision, I realized that the consequences of my choice would reverberate far beyond my own life. The life of the woman I was expected to marry would also be forever altered. The thought of potentially extinguishing her happiness was a burden I couldn't shake. My heart was torn asunder by the conflicting demands of family duty and personal desire. In that moment of introspection, I knew I had to find a way to reconcile my own feelings with the wishes of my family. I couldn't ignore the significance of tradition and family, yet I couldn't bring myself to disregard the importance of true love. The struggle was real, and the stakes were high. Let me share with you how I navigated this impossible choice. With a sense of trepidation, I approached her, seeking to unravel the tangled threads of her emotions. Our conversation was a delicate dance of vulnerability, as we gingerly navigated the uncertain landscape of our arranged marriage. But instead of resistance, I found a kindred spirit, equally suffocated by the weight of familial expectations. Together, we formed an unbreakable bond, united in our determination to shatter the shackles of obligation. We conspired to confront our families, armed with the courage to advocate for our own happiness. This epiphanic moment was liberating, imbuing us with the hope that our love could be a beacon of light, guiding us through the treacherous waters of tradition. As we stood united, ready to face our families, I felt an unshakable sense of solidarity with my partner. We were no longer two individuals bound by duty. We were two souls fighting for the right to choose our own path. With every fiber of my being, I knew that our love was worth fighting for, a love built on mutual respect, trust, and the freedom to choose. With hearts pounding and voices trembling, we shared our truth with our families. The initial shock gave way to glimmers of understanding, and though the journey ahead would be arduous, we knew that honesty was the first step toward a healthier, happier future. Hand in hand, we embarked on a new path, one paved with the promise of a love that would conquer all, even the pressures of tradition. As I stood before the mirror, meticulously adjusting my attire, a sense of disquiet settled within me. The festivities had commenced, the guests had arrived, and the melodic strains of music filled the air, yet my heart remained at odds with the proceedings. This was not the union I had envisioned, nor was it the future I had desired. In this moment of introspection, I was compelled to confront the reality of my situation. I had never intended to share these sentiments with the world, but fate had seen fit to guide me down this path. And so, I must confess to you, my devoted followers, that I am about to embark on a marital journey that is not of my choosing, but rather one that has been imposed upon me. As I stood frozen in front of the mirror, the weight of my predicament settled heavy on my shoulders. The question echoed in my mind: how did I end up here? The truth was far from the fairy tale unfolding before our guests' eyes. This wasn't a love story, it was a carefully crafted trap, and I was the unsuspecting prey. The sounds of celebration drifted through the air, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within me. I couldn't help but wonder how my life had taken such a drastic turn. It all began with a chance encounter, a moment of careless abandon that ultimately sealed my fate. She was a master manipulator, weaving a web of deceit that I was powerless to escape. The memories of that fateful night still lingered, a bitter reminder of my own naivety. I had underestimated her, mistaking her kindness for genuine interest. But she had an ulterior motive, one that I was only beginning to grasp. And now, I was faced with the unthinkable. Marrying a woman I didn't love, a woman who had orchestrated this entire charade. As the ceremony drew near, the noise outside grew louder, a cacophony of laughter and music that only served to heighten my anxiety. I felt like a prisoner, trapped in a situation of my own making. The thought of spending the rest of my life with her was suffocating, a constant reminder of my own powerlessness. As I stood before the mirror, a stranger's eyes stared back at me. The man I once knew had vanished, replaced by a puppet bound by strings of deceit. I was mere moments away from surrendering my freedom, from uttering the words that would shackle me to a woman who had masterfully manipulated me. The melodic strains of the music swirled around me, a haunting reminder of the fate that awaited me. My heart thundered in protest, my mind racing with the desperate desire for escape. But was escape even possible? The doors would soon swing open, and I would be forced to confront the consequences of my actions. The weight of my predicament settled heavily upon my chest, a cold, unforgiving stone that threatened to crush me. Outside, the guests waited with bated breath, their eyes eager to witness the union of two souls. But I knew the truth. This was no love match. This was a coercion, a carefully crafted trap designed to ensnare me. I clenched my fists in impotent rage, my mind replaying the events that had led me down this treacherous path. I had underestimated her, believing myself to be above the fray. But she had proven me wrong, wielding a secret that could destroy me with a single whisper. And now, I was at her mercy, forced to comply with her demands. "You will marry me," she decreed, her voice dripping with triumph. And I knew I had no choice but to obey. The memory of her words still echoed in my mind, a haunting reminder of the ultimatum she had delivered that fateful night. Her voice had been an icy whisper, devoid of emotion, yet laced with a deadly precision that had left me reeling. "Marry me, or watch everything you've built crumble to dust." The weight of those words had been crushing, the pressure suffocating. As I stood at the threshold, the heavy doors swung open with a resounding creak, and a collective hush fell over the room. Hundreds of expectant eyes turned toward me, their gazes like a physical force that pinned me in place. I felt the weight of their anticipation, the pressure to conform, the finality of the decision that lay before me. My feet felt like leaden weights as I took my first step forward, each subsequent step a countdown to the surrender of my freedom. And then, I saw her, standing at the altar, a vision in white, her beauty and a mask that concealed the truth. She was the epitome of elegance, the perfect bride, but I knew the reality that lay beneath the facade. She was a master manipulator, a woman who had orchestrated this entire charade with precision and cunning. Her smile was a masterpiece of deception, a delicate blend of innocence and vulnerability that would deceive even the most discerning eye. But I saw beyond the facade, to the calculating mind that had manipulated every moment leading up to this day. She had woven a web of deceit, ensnaring me in a trap from which I seemed to have no escape. As I took another step forward, my mind was a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. The secret she held over me was a ticking time bomb, threatening to destroy everything I had built. My reputation, my career, my very life hung in the balance. But was surrendering to her demands the only way to avoid catastrophe? A spark of defiance ignited within me, and I wondered if there was still a way to outmaneuver her, to turn the tables before it was too late. I exhaled slowly, my eyes locked on hers, as the world around me seemed to fade into the background. The guests, the flowers, the music, all of it receded into the shadows, leaving only the two of us, locked in a silent struggle for control. The world thought I was walking toward my fate, but I knew the truth. I was walking toward a reckoning, one that would change everything forever.